In today's video, I'm going to be going through the 15 most expensive January transfers ever. Starting off with Luis Diaz from Porto to Liverpool for 52 million euros. The Colombian winger was thriving at Porto and he had the attention of a lot of big clubs, but Liverpool were the club to do it, and for 52 million euros. This is just the 15th transfer though. It's going to get way more expensive, trust me. Next, we have Ferran Torres for 55 million euros from City to Barcelona. He was playing good at Manchester City, and because of that, Barcelona wanted him and regarded him as one of the best young Spanish talents at the time. And he didn't quite live up to it, but it was still a hefty fee. Next up, we don't have Ferran Torres, we have Fernando Torres, who left Liverpool and joined Chelsea for 58.5 million euros. Striving for more trophies, he left Chelsea for Liverpool in the January of 2011. This was a record transfer fee for the Premier League and for any Spanish player, but he didn't live up to it. Next, we have the 60 million euro transfer of Oscar, who left Chelsea and went to Shanghai. After 4.5 years with Chelsea, he made the shock transfer to the Chinese league for an Asian record transfer fee. This was a transfer that shocked the world, not only because it was in the winter, but because of where he went. But next up, we have Diego Costa from Chelsea to Atletico Madrid for 60 million euros. The striker completed his move from Chelsea back to Atletico Madrid, even though Chelsea were Premier League champions. This was slightly controversial because he'd scored almost 60 goals in 120 games for Chelsea. But the next one, we have Aubameyang from Dortmund to Arsenal for 63.7 million euros. After the striker's move from Dortmund to Arsenal, he scored a whopping 92 goals in 163 games for Arsenal. He was one of the league's best strikers and even became a captain for Arsenal for a little bit. At number 9, we have Christian Pulisic, who left from Dortmund to Chelsea for 64 million euros. When he arrived at Stamford Bridge from Dortmund in 2019, he had high expectations, to say the least. His time with the Blues was up and down. He won a Champions League with them and provided vital for a little bit, but kind of fell off. Now we have Aymeric Laporte, who went for 65 million from Athletic Club to Manchester City. After joining in 2018, he proceeded to win every single trophy with Pep Guardiola, and it proved to be a great move. He played a key role in the 5 Premier League titles he won at City. Now we have the Manchester United player Bruno Fernandes, who left Sporting for United for 65 million euros. This wasn't a bad transfer at all, and it's arguably considered the best transfer since Sir Alex Ferguson departed. He scored 85 goals and added 76 assists along with that for Manchester United. Moving to a more recent one, we have Goncalo Ramos, who left Benfica for PSG for 65 million euros. Last January, PSG made a loan move permanent for the Portuguese striker. The price was big, and he hasn't lived up to it yet due to injuries and just a little inconsistency. It's been a rough transfer, to say the least. Moving on to a big failure though, Mykhailo Mudryk joined from Shakhtar Donetsk to Chelsea for 70 million euros. He seemed to be destined to join Arsenal, but Chelsea came in and offered him a whopping transfer fee. However, Arsenal might have been lucky. The Ukrainian international has had a rough time at Stamford Bridge, and it's only getting worse. But now we have Dusan Vlahovic for 83.5 million euros from Fiorentina to Juventus. In January of 2022, he was considered one of the best young strikers in the whole world. He has scored 53 goals in 123 games for Juventus, but it's been a little up and down, if I'd say so. Now we have Van Dijk from Southampton to Liverpool for 84.7 million euros. He is by far the most successful January transfer. I know the money is big, but he has been a legend of the sport and for Liverpool. What a transfer that was. He was also instrumental for Liverpool winning their first title in 30 years. But now we have Enzo Fernandez from Benfica to Chelsea for 121 million euros. We all know this fee was insane and way too much. Enzo Fernandez has picked up his form recently at Chelsea, but the price tag still seems too high, and he's yet to live up to that big of an expectation. But we all know who's number one. It's Felipe Coutinho, who joined from Liverpool to Barca for 135 million euros. The club had money to spend, however, they didn't spend it well. He is one of the biggest transfer flops in recent history, and he never really performed well at the club, didn't stay for too long, and ended up joining Aston Villa. It was a nightmare. Hey, but let me know what you guys think below, and if there's any future transfers that will be on this list this year.